Storytime episodes, we went through a series of H.G. Wells horror novels to celebrate Halloween. For the month of November, we are going to be looking at some public domain stories written by Native American authors, specifically within the Creek Nation, since their land is where the Noonan Carnegie Library currently resides in Coweta County. For the first week, we are going to be looking at the poems of Alexander Lawrence Posey. We're going to be looking at 3 of his poems: Autumn, On Viewing the Skull and Bones of a Wolf, and the Song of Octahuchi. Now, a little bit about Alexander Lawrence Posey before we start. He was born in 1873 and passed away in 1908. He was born in the Creek Nation. He attended the Creek National School at Eufaula and spent 3 years at Bacone Indian University. He became the superintendent of the Creek School at Ikmogi, Eufaula, and my apologies for mispronouncing these words, Wetumpka. He was the owner and editor of the Indian Journal at Eufaula. That's all of the information I currently have, but please feel free to continue doing any extra research on Alexander Lawrence Posey. I will try and put some more information and links about him in the description. Now, the poems that I'm reading to you were written posthumously in 1910. And we're going to start with his poem, Autumn. In the dreamy silence of the afternoon, a cloth of gold is woven over wood and prairie, and the jaybird, newly fallen from the heaven, scatters cordial greeting, and the air is filled with scarlet leaves that, dropping, rise again as ever, with a useless sigh for rest. And it is autumn. That was lovely. We're going to go on to On Viewing the Skull and Bones of a Wolf. How savage, fierce, and grim. His bones are bleached and white. But what is death to him? He grins as if to bite. He mocks the fate that bade begone. There's fierceness stamped in every bone. Let silence settle from the midnight sky, such silence as you've broken with your cry, and the bleak wind howl unto the utmost verge of this mighty waste, thy fitting dirge. And now for the final poem from the Alexander Lawrence Posey that I will be reading today. There are plenty more by Alexander Lawrence Posey, so please take an opportunity, look him up. Some fantastic work here. These ones that I'm reading are my favorites of the ones that I read. The Song of the Octahuchi. Far, far, far are my silver waters drawn. The hills embrace me, loth to let me go. The maidens think me fair to look upon, and trees lean over, glad to hear me flow. Through field and valley, green because of me, I wander to the distant sea. Through lonely places and through crowded ways, through noise of strife and through the solitude, and on through cloudy days and sunny days, I journey till I meet in sisterhood. The broad Canadian, red with the sunset, now calm, now raging with a mighty fret. On either hand in a grand colonnade, the cottonwoods rise in the azure sky, and purple mountains cast a purple shade as I now grave, now laughing, pass them by. The birds of air dip bright wings in my tide, in sunny reaches where I noiseless glide. Or the sandy reaches with rocks and mussel shells, blue over spacious beds of amber sand. By hanging cliffs, by glens where echo dwells, elusive spirit of the shadowland. Forever blessed and blessing do I go, a widening in the morning's roseate glow. Though I sing my song in a minor key, broad lands and fair attest the good I do. Though I carry no white sails to the sea, towns nestle in the vales I wander through, and quails are whistling in the great waving grain, and herds are scattered o'er the verdant plain. That was wonderful. Thank you, Alexander Lawrence Posey, for the wonderful work that you have done in your lifetime. Now, I am going to take a nap before I read you our next week's piece of literature from a public domain Native American author from the Creek Nation. You may notice in the Noonan Carnegie Library, it's very difficult to find a good place to sleep. I found this couch upstairs where we're not quite open to the public yet, but it does give me some peace and solitude while I'm at work. And the comfiest thing I could find for a pillow were these Noonan Times Herald newspapers. Make sure you stop by. We do get the Noonan Times Herald regularly here at the library, so come on by, feel free to read them, and then give them to me for a pillow. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next week. It's not that comfy.